Okay, before I do number 13 through 7, through 13 to 19, I have to talk something about a conjugate. Okay, a conjugate is usually associated with a binomial. So if I have 2 plus square root of 3, it's not a simple matter of what's going to make that a perfect square. Well, blah. What I'm needing to do is figure out a way to get rid of the radical. I'm not worried about making a perfect square. Kind of said that badly. All right, let's try this again. It's 2 plus root 3. The conjugate of that is 2 minus square root of 3. All I did was take the sign and change it. When I multiply through by that, I'm going to do it the long way first time. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times root 3. 2 times minus root 3 is 2 minus 2 root 3. Then take the root 3. Then that one. Remember, so it's root 3 times root 3. Remember, when you multiply that, you only get a 3. Alright, so the middle, the negative 2 root 3 and the positive 2 root 3 cancel each other, giving me 4 minus 3, which simplifies to 1. So that's the whole point of the, well, that's our point of the conjugate, is to get rid of the radical. And there, it's gone. This is based on this idea, that if I have a minus b times a plus b, this is the factored form of the difference of two squares. When you multiply this, you simply get a squared minus b squared. So if you have this form, you can just square the first term, square the second term, and put the difference between them. Put a minus sign between them. All right, another example. Let's say I have negative 5 minus, let's make it more complicated. Let's make it square root of 3 minus square root of 5. So the conjugate of square root of 3 minus square root of 5 is square root of 3 plus square root of 5. All right, doing it this way, I'm not going to take the long way. I just simply square the first term, which will be 3. Remember, we're squaring a square root, so the square root goes away. Square the second term, which will be 5, and just put the minus between them. So that makes that negative 2. And that's how you use the conjugate. Alright, so I'm now going to start on number 13. So the oh, wow. Believe it or not, I didn't see that when I made that example. Alright, anyway, so the conjugate of square root of 3 plus square root of 5 is square root of 3 minus square root of 5. Multiply the numerator and denominator by the same. We distribute. In the numerator, we're going to distribute like normal. So it's 2 root 3 minus 2 root 5. Here, we're going to multiply. Remember, we're using the difference of two squares. Right? It looks something like this. So square root of 3 squared is 3 minus square root of 5 squared, which is 5. Making this 2 root 3 minus 2 root 5 over negative 2. Alright. Now, we can reduce. There's 2's in all three parts here. The 2 in the numerator and 1 in the denominator. So I'm going to multiply through, or I'm sorry, divide by negative 2. That's going to make this negative root 3 and make this a positive root 5. Right? The negative down here forcing the sign changes. Alright, and that's the answer to number 13. 14. No, not 14. Alright, 15. Ah! That's 2 over 3 minus root 2. Okay. Conjugate this time is 3 plus square root of 2. So we'll multiply numerator and denominator by 3 plus square root of 2. That will be 6 plus 2 root 2 in the numerator. 9 minus 2 in the denominator. 9 minus 2 is 7. That's it. Keep in mind, you cannot combine these two. This has a radical, this doesn't. So that's it. That's the end of the problem. 17. Something a little more interesting. Okay. We're looking for the conjugate of the denominator. multiply the, oops, we want to change the sign, making it a minus. I almost wrote a plus. So when I multiply that, what's going to happen? Let's see. Negative 3 times that is negative 15 root 3. Then 5 root 3 times minus 3 root 3 will give me minus 15 times 3. I'm going to say that again. I'm multiplying 5 root 3 times minus 3 root 3. The outside get multiplied 5 times negative 3, making negative 15. Then I'm doing square root of 3 times square root of 3, giving me just 3. Keeping going. Now I'm going to multiply 5 root 5 with these two, making this minus 15 root 5. Right? Yes. Alright. And minus 15 root 15. 5 times 5. The outside one, 5 times 3, 15. The inside one's 5 times 3, 15. Alright. Okay. The denominator, negative 3 squared is positive 9. Minus. The coefficient gets squared, making it 9. Square root of 3 squared is just 3. Okay. So let's simplify some here. That was negative 15 root 3 minus 45 minus 15 root 5 minus 15 root 15. Okay, the only thing that got simplified was the 15 times 3. The denominator, 9 minus 27, making it negative 18. Whew. Okay, I want to get rid of some of these negatives. Well, in fact, I'm going to get rid of all the negatives. Negative 18, there's a common factor of 3. 3 goes into all 5 terms, right? 4 on the top, 1 on the bottom. So I'm going to divide the whole, I'm going to cancel negative 3. So negative 15 divided by negative 3 is 5 root 3. Negative 45 divided by negative 3 is positive 15. Positive 5 root 5. Positive 3 root 15. Dividing the denominator by negative 3, that gives me positive 6. And there's my answer to number 17. 19. By the way, if you check the worksheet and it's not the same exact answer, perhaps the order is different. In this case, order really makes no difference. Okay? Alright. This is the last example. Again, the conjugated denominator. Right, all we did was change the sign. Multiply the top. 4 root 3 times 2. 4 root 3 times 2. 8 root 3. 4 root 3 times minus 2. Minus root 2. That's going to be minus 4 root 6. Then take the square root of 2. Multiply by that. That'll be positive 2 root 2. Root 2 minus root